Hello, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Rigo Villa, and I am one of the community managers on the Cisco Learning Network, and I'll be your host today. In this session, we will be covering getting started with the Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN with our two speaker and presenters. We got Praveen Anand and Peter Utudor. But before we get started, I wanted to share a couple of quick housekeeping notes. First, if you have any questions during the session, we ask that you please post them in the question and answer panel, as that would help our panelists manage and keep track of all of the questions and would also allow them to provide you with a much more timely response. Also, if you experience any audio streaming issues during the live presentation, I do recommend using the call-in telephone number that I'm going to be posting in the chat window here in just a moment. And at the end of this webinar, you're going to get a pop-up survey with a couple of questions about today's presentation. And we would really appreciate it if you can just take a moment to fill it out and share with us any thoughts or feedback that you may have about today's session. And last but not least, I want to let our attendees know that this session will be recorded and will be available on demand. So I'm going to be sharing some more information in the chat window a little bit later on as well. And without any further delay, I am now going to turn it over to our first speaker to get us started. So Praveen, if you're ready, please take it away.
Thank you, Roger. And thank you, everybody, for joining today's presentation. Today, we'll be talking about getting started, Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN. Today, like Raju mentioned, I'll be the presenter and Peter will be presenting the demo. So today, we will learn about the overview of the Catalyst, the Catalyst SD-WAN. And we will also become a little familiar with the Catalyst SD-WAN deployment types. So there are multiple deployment types. We'll look into that. And we'll also learn the process to configure the features and validate how it is operational in the fabric. And finally, we'll get some guidance about the resource and where do we have to start with your journey with our, the SD-WAN fabric. So today, this is the agenda for today. We will start off with the overview of Catalyst SD-WAN architecture. Then we will take a look into the SD-WAN components, the controller deployment options we have. And after that, we will take a look into some of the SD-WAN feature overview. And then we will look into the various onboarding methods for the WAN edge routers. And lastly, we will have the demo on the manager dashboard. And Peter will walk us through some of the device onboarding methods as well. So we have a lot of ground to cover. So let's go ahead and dive into each of them. So before we deep dive, I would like to inform you some of the recent rebranding from the Cisco SD-WAN solution, starting with our Cisco SD-WAN software release 20.12. So here on the screen, we can see some of the changes in the rebranding. So you might see that some documents and some user interface still might be using some of the old names. So that is only for the time being, and that'll be changing soon in the newer releases. And I'll try my best to use my and the new names here. But you might be occasionally hearing me say the old names, old habits. So in the slide here, we see our old name vManage, what we used to call. So that has become Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN Manager, and vBond has become the validator. vSmart is the controller, and vAnalytics is again the vAnalytics itself. So these are the main changes in the rebranding. So just keep in mind about these things. So first, let's talk about SD-WAN architecture and its components. So we all know this slide, right? This is the SD-WAN architecture, which is mainly broken into four planes. So the first one is the orchestration plane, which will assist with automatically onboarding of the SD-WAN routers and its component into the SD-WAN overlay. Next, we have our the management plane. So this is mainly responsible for your central configuration and monitoring of the entire fabric. And third, we have our control plane. So this is like the brain of the solution, and it builds and maintains the network topology and makes routing decisions when on where the traffic has to flow, right? And finally, we have our data plane. So this is the actual routers which are in our branches, and these are responsible for forwarding packets based on decisions from the control plane. So let's discuss all of these components in our upcoming slides. So the first one we have here is the orchestration plane. So the software-based component here performs the initial authentication of our WAN edge devices and the SD-WAN controller components as well. So so it actually goes through a three-phase mechanism for authentication. Like the first one is your device certificate, second one is your org name, and the third one is your actual certificate serial number of the device. So these are the three mechanisms which authenticate or the validator uses to authenticate the devices. And so basically, your validator tells whether your manage or the controllers to the vManage and then make a connection to them. So this makes a temporary retailers connection between your manage and the validator. So once the connection is established and it's validated, then the vBond or the validator will share the controller information to the edge device so that the edge device can make a permanent DTLS tunnel to the vSmart or vSmart and the vManage. So the validator also facilitates NAT traversal. So if you have a NAT, it will automatically identify the public IP address and the private IP address and the corresponding ports as well. And then this will actually propagate all this information to the controller component so that they'll be aware of these things. So since the validator is the first point of authentication for all the devices in the fabric, so this has to have so it's actually recommended to have a public IP address configured on this so that all your devices in your public network can get access to it, or at least we should have a one-to-one NAT which is configured for your validator. So in case if you have a private network or only MPLS in your network, so the minimum requirement is to have the edge devices reachable to the validator. So that's the minimum requirement which we have. Next one is your manager, which is your vManage. So this is a centralized network management system. It's a software based and it actually provides a GUI based interface so that you can easily monitor, configure, and maintain all your SD-WAN devices in your fabric. And this will provide your single pane of glass for your day zero, day one, day two operations. So the manager gives you a API interface as well, so that we can use APIs to integrate any of your third-party automation tools from your manager, and you can also configure policies and device templates using your vManage. Also, it also provides a software upgrade process wherein we can have or we can copy the images directly onto the vManage, and we can push the images directly from the vManage to your device. Next, we have our controller. So this is also a software-based component which is responsible for the centralized control plane of the SD-WAN network. Um, the SD-WAN controller establishes a DTLS-based secure connection to each WAN edge device by default. But if you want to change it to TLS, we still have an option to do that. And the SD-WAN controller distributes routes and policy information via routing protocol called as OMP, which is expanded to Overlay Management Protocol. So the controller is also called as the heart of the solution. So which basically acts as a BGP route reflector. Meaning, if an orchestrator it actually orchestrates the secure data plane connectivity between your WAN edge routers by reflecting your crypto key information originating from your WAN routers. So this actually allows for a very scalable ICE-less architecture. So this acts as a route reflector, and it distributes the um, crypto keys to all the other edge devices. Next, we have our data plane. This is actually the edge routers, which can be your hardware appliance or your software appliance that actually sits at your physical location on your DC or campus or even your branch locations. So the transport might be public or private. So it again depends on what kind of transport is connected to your router. Managed router provides a secure data plane connectivity between the sites over one or more WAN transports that could be your private or public transport. It is also responsible for traffic forwarding, security, and encryption as well. So we can also configure some of the SD-WAN features like QoS, routing protocols such as your BGP, OSPF, and many more towards your LAN side of your network. And finally, this also supports zero-touch deployment, wherein we can connect this manage to your DHCP-enabled internet connection. And if the reachability is right, it will automatically onboard onto your SD-WAN fabric. So we'll talk very briefly about your zero-touch provisioning in your in the further slides. And next we have our SD-WAN vAnalytics or analytics. So this is a SaaS service which is hosted by Cisco SD-WAN as part of the solution. So it provides a graphical presentation of all your performance of your entire overlay network over the time, and it also lets you drill down to the characteristics of a single carrier or even your tunnel or applications or on any given particular time. And the SD-WAN routers actually send the data to the SD-WAN manager using secure APIs. And this data is transferred to your analytics, which is hosted in your AWS cloud. Next, we have our cashless SD-WAN controller deployment type. So in this method, we will see what are the multiple deployment types which are available. So we have multiple flexible control components deployment options which are available for our customers. So the first one we have here is the on-prem. In this type, the controller component deployment is deployed on-prem, or this might be your data center on XI or virtual machines or container-based deployment, which can be done on your ESXi or KVM machines. So this is where the enterprise IT organization is typically responsible for provisioning the controller components and responsible for backing up and any disaster recovery which is there. So some of the customers, such as your financial institutes or government-based entities, may choose to run on-prem deployments, mainly due to your security compliance, which is there for them. Next type of deployment is your Cisco Cloud hosted. This is a recommended model and the control component, which can be deployed in AWS or Azure. This can be a single or multiple zones which are available for deployment. Most of our customer opt for Cisco cloud-based control deployment due to the ease of deployment and flexibility in scaling, which is available in this. So in this, Cisco takes care of all your provisioning of the control components, which with the certificates and meeting all the requirements for scaling and redundancy, which is available. And also Cisco is responsible for all your backup, snapshot, and any disaster recovery, which is available. So once the deployment is done, the customer is given access to the SD-WAN manager, and the customer can go and create their configuration templates and the policies based on their needs. So in this, we have another option called as managed service provider, which is also called as MSP, or it might be a partner hosted cloud as well. So this is again a private cloud hosted, or it can be a public cloud hosted as well, which can be deployed in AWS or Azure. So the only difference here is the MSP or the partner is typically responsible for provisioning the cloud components and responsible for backing up the components or doing a disaster recovery on this as well. Moving forward, let's see some of the SD-WAN features. So here are some of the basic terminologies which are there for Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN. The first one we have is Overlay Management Protocol, also called as OMP. The OMP routing protocol, which has a structure very similar to our BGP, which is there in a traditional network. This actually manages the SD-WAN overlay network, and the protocol which runs between this is actually the protocol which runs between your SD-WAN controllers and your WAN edge devices, where the control information such as your route prefix, next hop routes, your crypto keys, and the policy information is exchanged over a very secure DTLS or TLS connection. So the SD-WAN controller acts very similar to BGP route reflector, as we mentioned in the previous slides. So it receives routes from the WAN edge router, processes it, and applies any policies on them. And then it basically advertises the routes to all the edge routers in the overlay network based on your policy, which is configured from the user. So the policy here is your centralized policy. So we will again talk about this in the further slides. Next one is the TLOC. TLOC is a transport locator. This is a attachment point where a WAN edge router connects to a WAN transport network. So this TLOC is a uniquely identified and represented by a three tuple, which basically consists of your system IP address, link color, and your encapsulation. So when I talk about encapsulation, this is mainly your GRE and your GRE or IPsec. Next, we have color. Color is mainly a tag to identify the transport which is connected to the network. So, for example, if you have a MPLS or a internet, we can choose what type of color we can what type of color tag we can provide it to them. It might be a biz internet or private one, private two. So we have multiple color options. We can the customer can choose whatever color option he desires. Next one is site ID. So a site ID is a particular physical location within the Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN overlay network, such as your branch office or your data center or even your campus network. So each site is identified by a unique integer called as a site ID, and each Cisco Edge device at the site is identified by the same site ID. So when we are within the data center, all the devices within the data center will have the same site ID, and typically it will be configured same site ID within that. Next, we have our system IP address. So each edge router or Catalyst controller is assigned with a system IP address. So this is mainly to identify the physical system independent of any interface devices or so an interface addresses. So this address is very similar to our router ID or your router ID which is there on your OSPF or any other routing protocol. So this system ID also provides a permanent network overlay addresses for the edge router as well as your controllers. And it also allows the physical interface to be renumbered as needed whenever, without actually affecting the reachability of the device. Next, we have the org name. Org name is the name which is assigned to the SD-WAN overlay fabric. Um, it is a case sensitive and must match the organization name which is configured all over the devices in your network. Um, it is used to define the organization unit or your QU, which is a field which has to be matched in the certificate authority process when you're actually generating a certificate. Next, we have our VPNs, which is your virtual private network. So this is basically to provide segmentation. This is mainly like your VRF in our traditional world. So this is mainly there to provide segmentation in your, the SD-WAN fabric. So the VPN numbers are a 4-bit integer with the value starting from 0 to 65,535, wherein VPN 0 is reserved for transport VPN. So it contains the interfaces that connect to the WAN transport, and so it provides a secure TLS and DTLS connection to the control components as well. Likewise, VPN 512 is reserved for the management VPN. This is mainly used to carry out any out-of-band management traffic and to and fro from your Cisco devices. The rest of the VPNs from 1 to 60, 535 are used as your are there as your segment LAN segments VPN, which can be used as a service VPNs. So next, let's understand the fabric operates walk through here. So here, the Cisco SD-WAN manager and the controller initially contacts and authenticates the validator. So like we saw in the previous slide, right? The once the edge devices comes inside the fabric from the authenticator, so sorry, the validator. Once it is there, it will form permanent DTLS tunnels to the vSmart, which is there the controller. So once the controller is formed, the next thing is it will form IPsec tunnels between your edge devices to all the edge devices. So by default, so it's a full mesh. SD-WAN topology is a full mesh. It will form IPsec tunnels to all the routers which are available in the fabric. Once the IPsec tunnel is formed, next the BFT comes into picture. So BFT is bidirectional forward, which runs between which runs inside the IPsec tunnel. So this is mainly to give the liveliness of the circuit. It also gives us a loss latency and jitter information as well. So once the BFT is established, next comes your LAN segments or your service VPNs. Like in this case, we have VPN1 and VPN2. So VPN1 might have a subnet, VPN2 might have a B subnet. So once the same VPN, so the same service VPNs is established on the other side of the WANet, the the OMP update will be shared across from the controllers. So by default, the vSmart will share the OMP updates to all the available edge devices. Again, this can be modified using your policies. So that's the overview or the fabric walkthrough of how the SD-WAN fabric might look like once everything is set up. So next we have our policy framework. As you all know that the Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN solution follows the SDN principles and separates the control plane and the data plane. And based on what we have now categorized in this policy type, so we have first thing is centralized and localized policy. So centralized policy allow us to manipulate the whole it's an overlay of the fabric in a centralized fashion. And the localized ones usually are given the ability to manipulate only a particular device or a location. So because the control and data plane are separated, centralized policies are also separated into centralized control policy, which mainly affects the control plane operation, and centralized data policy that directly affect the forwarding of this packets. So the centralized control and data policies we can configure directly from our manager, and we can go ahead and apply this particular SD so no this particular policy for our vSmarts, and vSmarts again will go ahead and deploy it on our edge devices. Now let's talk about the localized control policy. So it has again localized control and data policy. We can again configure from the the manager, and in this case, the manager itself directly go ahead and attach this particular configuration on your device template. So once it attaches to the device template, the configuration will be pushed directly to the device. So localized control policy is also called as route policy, which allows for a manipulation of BGP, OSPF for EIGRP routing behavior on a particular site. And the localized data policy here is as as a form of access list or QoS control policy that can be configured on the router directly. Now let's talk about how do we onboard managers. So before that, I want to show you this slide, which mainly talks about the routing portfolios. So here we have the portfolio, which includes your ISR one case and ISR four case. We have our aggregator, which includes ASR and Catalyst 8500, and we also have a virtual routers as well. So in this case, we have 8 case and ISR's one case. So for the onboarding option, we have some prerequisites. So the first thing is obviously the controller has to have reachability, or the edge has to have reachability with the validator, because the validator is the first point of contact, right? So that is the basic requirement. The second thing is the authorized WAN edge should be whitelisted and uploaded to the controllers. So when I say whitelisted, the edge serial number should be in the in the uploaded in the PNP portal, or else the PNP portal should be the PNP or the edge white the certificate serial number should be there in the vManage or and all the other controllers. Third point here is the managed device must be in a valid state or a staging certificate state. So here we have three stages. One is your invalid state and the staging state and valid state, which can be controlled on your manager. So here it should be either invalid or staging stage for the device to come online. And the final one is so this is an optional one wherein we can go ahead and create a template for the device, so that as soon as the device comes into the fabric, the template will be automatically attached, and it can push the complete configuration of the device. All right. So in this slide, we're gonna discuss how we can onboard your new hardware devices, which is your greenfield deployment. And we have three simple methods for onboarding hardware here. So the first one here is plug and play. All right. So in plug and play, the first one here is plug and play. So as soon as the customer buys a device, the serial number will automatically get populated in the PNP portal. So if at all the vManage has connectivity with the PNP portal, or else the smart account credentials is uploaded or saved in the vManage, the new serial number will automatically get reflected in the device list of the on the manager. So once that is done, all we have to do is, out of the box, we can just connect that router to a DHCP enabled internet connection, and the helper address on the device will be automatically configured, and it will reach out to the Cisco's PNP validator. So once it reaches out to the validator will redirect this particular device, and it checks within its whitelist if at all this device is valid or not. Once once it's validated, it will see which company validator, or what is the IP address of the validator of that particular company, and then it will forward this particular edge device to that validator. And the validator again validates it with the whitelist, and once it's validated, it will send the controller IP address, which is your vSmart and your manager IP address, to the edge device, and it will also inform those controllers saying that one of the edge device bearing with this certificate ID will be will be reaching out to come online, and this is a valid one. So once that is done, and if at all there is any certificate, sorry, no, so any template which is configured, the manager will automatically attach a template, and that particular device will come online. So this is a completely automated plug and play onboarding method. The second method we have is the bootstrap method. So in this method, again, the PNP process remains the same. So as soon as so as soon as the customer purchases, the serial number will automatically reflect in the PNP portal. Uh, so in this case, what we can do is we can go ahead and generate generate a template for this particular device, and for that device, there will be an option to download the Bootstrap configuration. So Bootstrap configuration is the basic configuration which is needed, like your system information, your your org name, system IP address. All these things can be downloaded directly from the Bootstrap configuration, and this can be copied to a USB, and it can be copied onto the router. So the router can boot in, and it can with that, with the configuration which is available, it can directly reach out to the validator. And the third option is manual onboarding. So again, it's the same process, but in this case, instead of having a direct PNP portal connected to the manager, we can download the CSV file, which contains the serial number and the chassis number of the edge devices, and we can go ahead and upload that in the manager GUI, so that the manager will be aware of this, and the manager gives us an option to share this information across all the other controllers like the validator and the vSmart. So once we do that, we can again go ahead and download the Bootstrap configuration and copy it onto the USB device and upload it onto the edge device to bring that edge device online. So that's about the hardware device. Now the next one is the virtual devices. So again, we have three methods. All so most of the things are the same, except that in a virtual device there won't be any serial number which is attached, right? So in this case, we have to do a manual method here, wherein we have to activate. We can we'll have to copy the chassis number and the token ID from the vmanage, and then we need to copy this particular information onto the edge device. So apart from this, we also need to copy the root certificate information, and we need to install the root certificate on the edge device. So only after this, the edge device will be validated by the validator, and then it can come online. So that's it. I had the presentation, on part of the presentation. I would like to call upon Peter to demonstrate the SD-WAN manager walkthrough and talk about device onboarding. Over to you, Peter.
Thank you, Praveen, for the presentation. Give me a second. Let me share my screen. Let me know if the screen is visible.
Yes, we can see it. Thank you.
Okay, so here is the vManage dashboard. So when you log into your vManage, there's the first screen you see. So on the main dashboard, or the overview dashboard here, you have your controllers. Here you have one vBond, you have two vSmart and one vManage. So basically the overview is just to tell you, or to give you like a summary of your SD-WAN fabrics, the status of each of your system. For example, you have the numbers of controllers you have in your fabric. For example, we have one vBond, two vSmart, and one vManage. Then here you can see in the middle here, you have the numbers of WAN edges. Those are your SD-WAN routers or your branch routers. And to right of that, you have your certificate status. So if you have anything like an issue with a particular certificate, maybe the certificate is about to expire, or there's a problem, the certificate is not properly installed, then you are going to be seeing that notification here. Then the next one here, you have the licensing. So you can see the numbers that are assigned and the ones that are not assigned, to tell you that there are some licenses that they are yet to be assigned. and you can see the numbers of time the vManager has been rebooted for the last 24 hours. Then if you go below that, here you can see the WAN edge health here, showing the health of your WAN edges. So here you can see that you have 4 of them, and then everything is showing green to tell you that the health of your WAN edges are fine. Then you can see the BFD connectivity here, and then the site. You can see here you are having full BFD connectivity. So here it tells you that the tunnels are fine, the BFD connection is up, and everything is all good.
Hey, Peter.
Right here, yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. There seems to be a little problem with your audio. It sounds a little poor. I don't know if maybe it might be a connection issue. But just thought I'd mention that in case we have a way of maybe uh, trying to get that improved, if possible.
Okay, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. It just sounds it just sounds it sounds a little off, your audio.
Okay, sorry about that.
No worries.
Okay, so so for the transport interface distribution, you have the megabytes here. So this is just telling you that this is how the interfaces that you have on all your WAN edges. So this is not like a particular WAN edge. This is like the summary of all of your WAN edges, and it's telling you what is the transport distribution that you have: 10 megabytes, 100 megabytes. So this is what is showing here, and you can also click on the view details to get more information. And in addition to that, you can see the WAN edge inventory, the total WAN edges, the authorized. These are the ones that the serial numbers have been uploaded and approved. And then these are the deployed ones. These are the ones that are currently, the control connection is up. And then for the staging, you don't have anything here. So meaning everything is completely deployed. Then for the transport health in the middle here, you can see your latency. So if you have loss, jitter, and latency in your transport, that's basically your WAN facing interfaces, maybe MPLS, 4G, whatever the transport you are using is going to be showing you what is the percentage of loss that you have there. And you can also check here, you can see that you can choose based on whatever criteria you want to check. So it can be for latency, and you can also get for jitter. So if you click on this, it will show you the jitter information, and that also helps you to know how the transport is actually performing here. Then for the top used application, you can also see that here for application that is mostly being used in your network. Down below that, you have the application aware routing. That is, if you have this configured in your environment, then you'll be getting information about the application aware routing, the average jitter, the latency, basically everything about the performance of your tunnel as relating to the application aware routing and configuration that you have in your SD-WAN. So at the top right here, you have some other icons here that you can make use of. For example, here, this one looks like a cloud, is for your cloud deployment. So if you want to do the cloud around for SaaS, maybe for IaaS, multi-cloud. So these are all kind of tools that you can use to maybe extend your SD-WAN fabric to your cloud. And this is basically to monitor your cloud hosted, basically your SaaS applications in the cloud. And then that gives you a better monitoring feature, intel features of maybe checking to get telemetry and all of that to choose the best tunnel or the best transport to use to actually route data to a particular endpoint, which is a SaaS endpoint. Then another one here is for the task. So if you have pending tasks, maybe active tasks, you can see tasks that have completed here, and the one that is not completed, this one that is active, that is ongoing, you can also see it here. And then you have the notification here, and in the middle here you have help where you can maybe check some few information and all of that. So that is for the overview. Then if you look below that under monitor, you can see here we have monitor overview. You have devices, tunnels. So this is more of like a quick way of navigating through to just get like a monitoring information of all of this. So for the devices, if you click on that, you can see some maybe health information regarding that particular those devices you have. So you can see the V edge here. You can see for the V manage, you can see the health, the system IP, the reachability, and then you can get the vSmart control connection. So this shows that you are not actually having issues here, and the BFD is also up here. And the same thing for the tunnel, and then security also you can see inspected traffic, dropped traffic, and then the severity in terms of signature and then URL filtering. So these are basically monitoring information for your security. So if you've configured the security for the what's it called now, for monitoring security here, this is what you see. So let's come to the menu here. So on the menu side, if you click on the burger menu here, you see
Hey,
it's
Peter,
similar to, yeah.
I'm sorry. Your audio quality still seems a bit yeah, a bit robotic. Do you know if there's a way to maybe explore to see if maybe we can enhance it a bit? Like if maybe we can change a headset or something just to kind of help the quality improve.
Okay, so let me just turn it off and next, please. Hold on.
Thank you so much. And apologies to our audience as well as we work through this.
Hope I'm sounding clearer now. The audio is better now.
Oh yes, actually, much better.
Okay, so coming to the menu here, you see the monitoring, the configuration. So for the area of configuration, you have your template. This where you configure template for devices. You have your feature template, for example, and then you have your device template. So for the feature template, you can call features like, for example, maybe for a particular device, you just scroll through the device, you select the devices that you want to configure. So you can see you have several devices listed here. So for example, let's say we want to configure a CAT 83000 here. You can just click on that and then you select the feature that you want to configure. So here you have security, you have VPN interfaces, you click on that, and then that takes you to that particular feature configuration, and then you can see the IP address, the information that you can actually configure here. You can see the IKE information, and these are basically features that you configure. So when you are done with that, you can go ahead and save it for that particular device or for that platform. Then after you're done with that, then you can now have coming together of those templates and then becoming a device template. So here you can see that we have some device template that already been configured. For example, the branch type 2 template VH here, the first one on the line, we can see that we have like 20 feature template that is already here. There are no devices attached here already. So, but that tells you that this particular template is already being scheduled. So once the device comes online, you attach it, and when the device comes online, this is going to be pushed to the device. Then for this one here is already this one is already attached. We can see for the CSR here. So you have like 22 feature templates. So to attach this to a device, all you need to do is just to click on these three dotted points here, and then you go to attach device. So when you click on attach device, you are going to select the device on the left here that you want to attach it to, and then click the arrow button in the middle, and then you can click on attach. So with that, this particular template is going to to load, and then you click on next, and then you click on configure device, which in this case is going to, you can see here saying that the template configuration is in progress, and then that is going to be attached to that device. So that is for the flow for you to actually associate that. So you can see that this is already been scheduled. Validation is successful here. So once this device comes online, what happens is this configuration is going to be pushed to that device. Then aside from that, then you have for example, for policies, my colleague mentioned something about centralized policies, and then you also have the localized policies. So here you can see where you can add your centralized policy. You have some pre-configured policy. You can add policy here, and then you can choose maybe color, maybe for custom application. So this is where you select your group of interest, maybe site or TLOC or SLA class. Maybe you want to configure for QoS, and then you can, so then you now associate maybe voice and all of that. So this is basically the workflow. Then you have maybe the membership and all of that. So here is where you actually work through to actually to configure centralized policy. Then for the localized policy, all you need to do is just to select the localized policy, and then you can also add the policy that is going to be pushed directly to the devices. Then also we have for your, maybe for example, for the device onboarding, if you go to the configuration here and then click on devices, so we can see here you have the WAN edge list. Here you can either upload your WAN edge list here, which is like you are whitelisting the device. So you have it, which my colleague mentioned earlier about device whitelisting. So all you need to do is just to upload a CSV file, and then you upload them here, and the configuration is going to be replicated to be pushed to other controllers. Then also you can export your bootstrap configuration, and then that can be added to your devices, and that can be used as an initial configuration to boot and connect to maybe to the PMP, and then from there to direct that to your organizational validator to be added to your fabric. So these are all options that you can also use to do that. Then for controllers, you also have options on adding controllers also. So we can see here, you just click on add. If you're adding the vBond or vSmart, you just select the ones that you want to add, and then you can add that to the fabric. Then another thing is you have here the maintenance tool. Now for the maintenance tool is basically to do, maybe you are going to do software upgrade, you are using maybe an older version you want to upgrade. This is where that happens. So you can do your upgrade here, and then upgrade your, maybe here you have the software repository which you upload. Here's where you upload your current images for vManage image. Maybe you are using a older version and you want to download, or you have downloaded and you want to upload the newest version. This is where you upload it. So you come to the software images, and then you can add there. So you can just add that here. And then you also have the virtual images where you can upload over like your UTD engine for your security. And then for the software images, this is where you add to your vManage. So you basically upload maybe your vBond and then your vSmart images, and then you can now upload it here. Then aside from that also, then you can do the upgrade also here. Aside from that, we also have the vAnalytics here, whereby you can connect directly to vAnalytics, and then if you have that already integrated, you can then go through that and check your vAnalytics information to have more in-depth monitoring there. Then we also have tools. In the tool sections, you can actually connect directly. You can SSH to your WAN edges or your vManage. Here you can see on the left here, we have several of them. We have the vManage here, whereby all you need to do is just click on that, and then it's going to take you to the SSH terminal whereby you can log in with your information. So here you don't need to maybe install maybe a tool on your laptop or whatever. So this is actually integrated. So you don't need to worry about installing any SSH tool. So all you need to do is just come to that section, and then you can actually connect through SSH. So that's if you want to maybe run some CLI and all of that. So that is also there. Then in addition to that, you also have your configuration whereby you can make security configuration, your certificates, and then you have the cloud deployment, which is your cloud around for SaaS, your IaaS, and then your multi-cloud. So if you are extending to the cloud, you can easily also configure it from here. So here, these are the workflows that you actually go through to configure that. So that is that. So with that, I'm going to be handing over to my colleague to continue with us. Over to you, Rigo.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Prameet and Peter, for that excellent presentation and demonstration. And I just want to apologize to our audience as well for that issue with the audio. We apologize for that. Before we dive into some FAQs, I just wanted to take a quick moment to cover a few resources. For our audience, just for your convenience, we do have a few helpful links that you can refer to at your convenience. We have a few recommended guides, as well as a very active and helpful community that focuses on SD-WAN and cloud networking. So if you have any related questions, we do encourage you to participate in this community. For your reference, I'm going to go ahead and post a link into the chat window there. So please feel free to save them or bookmark them at a later time at your convenience. And thank you all so much. Now, with that said, let me go ahead and take a look at our Q&A. It looks like we actually don't have any remaining questions from our audience. So I think we can go ahead and wrap up for today. I just want to give again just a very big thanks to our presenters, Praveen and Peter, for speaking and presenting this topic to our audience. I hope that everyone found value in the information resources that was shared here today. And for our attendees, if you do have any additional questions about today's topic, we do encourage you to participate in our online post-webinar discussion. You are actually going to be redirected there upon exit, but the link has been posted into the chat window, but just in case you missed it, I'm going to go ahead and repost it in there momentarily for you. So we do look forward to your participation. And a quick reminder that you will receive a short pop-up survey as soon as you exit, and we would be grateful if you can just take a few minutes to complete it and let us know how you like today's presentation. We always look forward to receiving your valuable feedback. And for those who might be interested in revisiting this session, we will have the live stream available immediately for on-demand viewing. And the links have also been posted into the chat window, but I'm going to go ahead and repost them there for your reference in case you missed them a little bit earlier today. Thanks again to our presenters, to our panelists, and to all of our attendees for joining us here live. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much.